Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the 1 Point Safety Show with myself, Scott Hartley, and my illustrious co-host, Scouse Andy Lockhart. How are you, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Yeah, good. Thanks. All good. My end. Recovered after the draft. A hell of a long weekend, but yeah, man, it's been ace. So I'm glad the chat's looking really healthy today. So shout out to everyone in the chat: Brian, Ian, David, Cameron. We're all in. I'm sure my wife's watching as well. So yeah, man, it's all good.
Brian
But yeah,
Deluxe.
we'll start.
Brilliant.
We will start.
Brilliant.
Deluxe is in as well. I think him and Ian were first. So yeah, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it. We'll start with normal with our sponsors. So, yeah, we have a merchandise sponsor for the pod. It is Oddballs. If you go across to myoddballs.com, you'll find all sorts of wacky and wonderful boxer shorts, hats, bobble hats, and apparel. Our apparel will be on there within the next probably 3 weeks now, Scouts. But yeah, you can buy directly from their website. We also have our own website now, which is www.onepointsafetyshow.com. And it's in the bio of the chat, and it's also on our YouTube channel and in our link tree. So if you want to go and have a check out for any bespoke merch, or you want to just find out a little bit more about who me and Scouse are, by all means, head across there and see samples of the things that we're trying to sell for merchandise. So yeah, that'd be great. We're also have an affiliate sponsorship for the pod. We sponsor Dunstable Town FC, Talk of the Town podcast, level 7 non-league football there, right down south in South Bedfordshire. Andy Burrows is the Talk of the Town host for there. He's our good mate in Washington Land. So we decided we would sponsor Dunstable Town FC. So if you want to check them out, it's Talk of the Town podcast. I think their season is just finished, but they're also on YouTube as well now. So go and give them a watch and a listen. Well, we'll get into a bit then, mate. It's been draft week, and I have just literally sat down probably 10 minutes before we got on here and watched the calls video. If you haven't seen that, go on to Commanders YouTube, have a watch. Really have a watch of that. It's 9 minutes of your life it just makes you smile, doesn't it? To see these prospects get drafted, all their dreams come true. Unbelievable. Oh, yeah. What were your thoughts? What were your thoughts on the draft as a whole? Then, Scouse, we'll start there, mate.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I actually did. I mean, there's some guys on there that, I was desperate for to pick, and Peter's pulled it out the bag for me. So, I mean, I'm really happy with what we did. I mean, the theme throughout, even with guys who didn't really know who we picked, who these guys are, from say like third round onwards, you didn't really know who these guys were really. All of the same type of traits, though. It's all like kind of athletic, good character, leaders, team captains, those type things. I'm very athletic guys, and also like to play nasty. And those are the things that you can notice that was what. But that's what Dan has been saying all the time. He wants his team to be hitting the fast and physical, as he called it. You know what I mean? And we're going to arrive like that. And that's exactly what these guys do at the college level, so I can see why they selected them.
Yeah, completely agree with you. I mean, overall, we'll go through each individual pick and then we'll get our thoughts on that. We've got some great fan questions as well that's come in, so thank you to everybody who has submitted that. Evening, Jesse, mate. Hope you're well. Yeah, honestly, great. I mean, some people have come in here. It's quite funny that they thought my head was going to fall off when we didn't take offensive line with them first three picks. Yeah. And yeah, if you want to watch,
your head did fall off. To be fair, when watching the live stream,
I was a bit fuming. Like
your head was like your face was the color of our background.
I was fuming. I was fuming, and then we picked up Brandon Coleman, so it didn't really matter. But I understand the way they've gone here. I understand they're looking at high character athletes. They're looking for people who've tested extremely well on the RAS score, and they're looking at who they've picked up. But we'll go for each individual one. So round 1, pick number 2, it was Jayden Daniels. The talk is over. Jayden Daniels was their guy for a long, long time. It's since come out that obviously looking at their draft board, apparently, if you believe the experts, it was only ever going to be Jayden or JJ McCarthy, and Drake May wasn't even in the running order. I know you're a big Drake May fan. Jesse was also a big Drake May fan. I was 60-40 between Jayden Daniels and Drake May.
I get it. But to be fair, I mean, there's no way in hell JJ McCarthy was on the board at 2. I'm not. I just don't care. I don't care what anyone says. That guy is not worth the number 2 pick ever in any draft ever. Amen. Okay, so this guy, you know, to keep him where he's at. I think he went. When did he go? Where did he go? Was it 6? No, he went. Was it
who? Jaden Daniel or JJ McCarthy? McCarthy went 11 to Minnesota. 10 to Minnesota.
Minnesota, yeah. So yeah, he can stay there. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, very happy we got Daniels over. If it was between him and McCarthy, hell yeah. So yeah, man, I'm happy. I mean, the guy, we've always said it. I mean, even if he wasn't my main choice, the guy's talented, man. The guy is talented. He's got talent in spades. The only thing for me is his potential of getting of a high risk of injury, basically. So that's why, just because of his frame. So, but his skill set, he's got a lot that you got to like, you know. So
let me just start Ian's question here in the chat so we can come back to that a little bit later. But yeah, man, I'm really excited. He is our quarterback. We have to trust the process, whether we like it or not. You know, at the end of the day, Adam Peters, we've got to trust in Adam Peters and Dan Quinn. That's their guy. And, you know, you live by the sword, you die by the sword, as they said. So if, you know, if it doesn't happen, then fine. You know, it's not going to happen. But it is one of them. We hope that he is the answer that we've all been looking for 20 years, do you know, on going back. And hopefully we're not in this situation next year, picking so high. And even, you know, and he is the answer, because that's ideally what you want to see. You know what I mean? Just development of a quarterback. And going from there.
Like, I mean, I say, you know, the future is very bright, man. It really is, and I say, I just hope this isn't going to end up being the RG thing. And now, again, that's the PTSD in me, to be honest. And I'm sure there's other guys out there feel the same, thinking, "Oh God, you know, all he's going to do is just going to do one long run and get his leg blown off, or you know what I mean, like, and that's the end of his career, and he'll never be the same again." And that is always going to be in the back of your mind, you know. I mean, obviously not for Jaden himself, but for the fans. You know, you're thinking, dang, you know, it's it can definitely play on your mind as a fan, hoping every single time you get hit, because he's going to get hit, and you're going to go, oh my God, you know, is he all right? And he probably get back up 9 out of 10, you know. But it's like every single time you're going to think, oh, can he handle that hit, you know, on the regular.
Jesse saying here, of course, Scout still hates on McCarthy. He's going to be a top 10 pick in a few weeks. I mean, yeah. Oh, he's a bum. Yeah. Well, he doesn't play for us, so he's a bum. Yeah, I agree with you, Scout. There you go. He's a bum. So if he ended up playing for us in the future, he'd be, yeah, he's all right.
He's still a bum.
But no, in all seriousness, I'm really pleased with JJ McCarthy, with Jaden Daniels from LSU. I think we just got to trust the process and hope that he is the guy moving forward. Next pick then, 36, round 2. This, I was thinking, please, some sort of tackle. But where the way the draft fell, there wasn't much left at that point. You were thinking to yourself, well, all the ones that you potentially probably could have gone for are gone. Amarius Mims at 18 to the Bengals was kind of where in most mocks people had him. I know that they had talked about trading up, and that's since come out that they were looking to trade back into the first for a tackle. However, obviously they weren't willing to pay that price. So, you know, we have to trust that that's there. But we got Johnny Newton, Josiah Newton, defensive tackle out of Illinois, 28th overall on the board from Dan Brugler's mock. He's a dependable 3-tech. You know, he is a guy who ideally is coming in not to replace Jonathan Allen, but Jonathan Allen's obviously getting older. I know Scott G's got a bee in his bonnet about this. Me and you think otherwise, that because there's no guaranteed money for Jonathan Allen, he's in his last year of his contract. Do you move on from him at maybe the trade deadline? Or
the scary thing is he's got 2 years left on his deal, but he's got no guaranteed money, Allen. So it's like, what do you do with that? You know, and as I say, I always think when a guy's on no guaranteed money, either they won't play, or they'll get traded, or they get re-signed. They're doing 3 things you're going to get. So, if we don't re-sign him soon, then I can only see him being traded, because I can't see anyone playing on no guaranteed cash in the NFL when one play can break your ankle. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, one of the two there, mate.
But yeah, Johnny Newton, great pick for value, and it's clear what they did.
Seriously, man, he's gonna shock a lot of people. That guy
I think
is a
so
game
too.
wrecker. He really is a game wrecker. That's what good he is. He's a little short. I mean, that obviously be one of Scott G's questions about like one pro and con of each player that we picked. But yeah, the only thing about Newton is that he's a little short. He's a bit small. But again, they're always going to compare him now, aren't they, to Aaron Donald?
Yeah, absolutely.
Short DT, an absolute pass rushing beast in the middle, up the middle, and that's what John Newton does. So, not saying it's going to be him, but
Rod's got it here. Newton will allow the rotation of Allen, so that's allowing us to get the best out of him on the field. I agree with that. I do. If we keep Allen, obviously, but we don't know what's going to happen moving forward. But what I am worried about, or not worried, what I think some of the defensive tackle depth that we have in this squad now, the likes of Fidarian Mathis, I mean, hasn't produced a second-round pick.
We've got too many guys.
Nothing.
Now, I know people say, "Oh, well, Allen can play. He can play on the edge at times, and he can pass rush that way, and blah blah blah." But the thing is, though, again, that's a square peg round hole thing. Forget that. Yeah. You play these guys in their best positions. Simple as that. So, I mean, Allen is a DT, and as I say, Newton is the same type of player. Same with Duron. The other two, you mentioned Ridgeway and you mentioned Mathis. They're more of a true nose tackle, really. I know we don't play that because you don't play a 3-4, but they're more of a nose tackle, and then you can just fill in at DT if that makes sense for us in that respect. So I wouldn't, unless we're changing to a 3-4, you won't see them starting, barring injuries. But yeah, it's only Allen and Payne really that Newton's going to go up against as in the true pass rusher on the DT line.
Yeah, I mean, next pick then, and this is, I mean, I know this is your favorite pick, most likely. Pick number 50 in round 2, Mike Senstrel, cornerback even.
People are going to love this guy.
I mean, here you go. David obviously put something in our chat here saying, I can remember picking Mike Senstrel in a mock, and scouts liked the pick, so I know he'd be happy with that one. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think when we did our mock on here, we had him in our mock draft.
I had Senstrel. Yeah, great player. Actually, in our mock, actually. But yeah, man, I mean, yeah, I think I'd say this guy, maybe I should go into more detail about him, but I love this guy. I mean, true slot corner.
He's a nickel on as well. He can play the best big nickel going for me. That's where I think he plays.
He plays slot. I mean, and that's where he should be. I mean, yeah, he can play a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and blah 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 blah. And he's very smart. I mean, if you listen to his interview with us, you can see he's mentally there. Do you know what I mean? Like, he isn't just like one of these, just knows football and that's it. This guy's like, actually, he knows what he's talking about, and he sees he's got his head screwed on. The guy can play multiple areas. Now, again, he used to be a wide receiver, so he's got the ball hawking hands as well. Honestly, man, this guy's going to be.
What I found interesting was the bit there with JJ McCarthy at his pro day. He was catching balls for JJ McCarthy as a wide receiver. And at the end of the day, there's another theme here, mate. Is obviously it's high RAS scores. I mean, I'm looking at the RAS scores here.
Yes, Brian.
8.45 for Mike Senstrel. Johnny Newton wasn't tested. Neither was Jaden Daniels. And we'll get into the RAS scores a little bit further on.
But Johnny Newton's still overcoming that injury, wasn't he? So he didn't want to test.
I think he was. Yeah, I think he was. And then if you look at what they're doing, the team captains as well. This guy's a team captain on a title-winning team. You know what I mean? It's not, and he's only been playing DB for 2 years. 2 years. So that's the sky's the limit for this guy. It's not about upside. The upside is there, absolutely. He could be the best slot corner in the NFL in 2-3 years, no doubt about it. However, he's got the ability to start immediately. And what you wanted from this draft was immediate starters.
A massive hole that he's going to fill. He's going to be, he's going to be one of the big guys who's going to hit the ground running. He's going to be one of the guys you think, dang, man, thank God we got this guy. Seriously, he's excellent, really is.
Yeah, agreed.
In a little bit, we'll go through a bit of weaknesses with him. And one of his things is tackling in space. But again, slot corners, any corner really tackling in space aren't the best at tackling in space, and they just throw themselves at the guy and hope to get him down. That's his biggest one, I think. But he kind of throws like those, the DB type of tackle where they're going in with the shoulder, but they're not really looking at the guy and just throw themselves.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Hoping that they catch the leg and they fall over. That kind of tackling. That in open space. That's the only problem with Senstrel. But again, most corners are like that. And I'm just hoping that with coaching, he can be better with it. But
so Rod's put a question in the chat here. He said we have some potential impactful cornerbacks in this draft. It puts pressure on BSJ and Forbes. Also, could BSJ move to safety? I mean, there's a potential for BSJ to move to safety, but I don't think he will do. I don't know if BSJ actually makes this team. Seriously, I don't know if he does. I hope he does, but it's going to be an interesting cornerback field.
He's going to have to be like different player to stay on the team, because
if we get the 20,
all this lockdown shit that he's doing, like all these stupid little things when he makes one half decent play, it's like, mate, you get burnt all the time. You are like burnt toast, guaranteed. So
if we get the 2022 version of Benjamin St-Juste, I'll be happy with that. But obviously, not in with the one we had last year. Hi Tony, nice to see you in the chat. Just to let Ian and Tony know, the postman was posted today, both of your bits of merch. So apologies for the delay in that, but they went out in the post today. So hopefully you will get them very, very soon. Next pick then, mate. Round 2 again, pick 53. So 3 picks on. We haven't mentioned the trade with Philadelphia, but obviously trading away from 40 and down a bit, obviously, and trading away 78. We gained 50 in return, and we gained 53. So we're up quite a few spots there. I mean, initially people were questioning it, saying, "Oh, is it right? I'm not too sure." Especially when you're trading with Philly, and there was players on the board. There was top level corners on the board.
Did you see the guys we got with them 2 picks? I mean,
that's what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying.
I don't mind. It was a bit strange at the time. I was thinking, "Oh, what's this about? What are you doing trading with Philly?" But obviously, it worked out. They had guys they wanted and guys that obviously I like, so I can't complain with that. It wasn't like we did that and then pick shit players. We picked good players, so I can't really complain.
So this is someone who I've looked at a lot in mock drafts. I know you had him again in your mock draft, in your version, when we did mine versus yours. It's Ben Sinnott, tight end out of Kansas State. RAS score of 973. Now, obviously, if you don't know how RAS works, it's out of a perfect 10 as a scoring system. And they look at the combine measurables. So they're looking at height, weight, arm length, hand size, speed, 40-yard time, 3-cone drill, the broad jump, the how vertical, the long jump, everything else that's in there, cone drills, times at 10-yard. They put that all together, and then they say, right, what is this guy pretty much out of a perfect 10 score? And
his position as well.
His position. Yeah, he was a 973. Now, the RAS score goes back to 1987. So almost 40 years when we go and look at it that way. And I've had a look back here at all of the RAS scores for tight ends, and he is rated as the 4th highest RAS scorer in tight ends. Bit of use check in there, a bit of George Kittle. I don't want to say that they're both the same, but if you listen to Peters' call, that's what he said. That's who he reminds me of. He can be that halfback. He can be the guy who's an absolute beast of a blocker. I mean, in the whole of the if you look at all these tight ends and you broke them down, you read the bits and pieces, he was the best blocking tight end in the entire draft, but also has hands and speed, which is what you want out of a tight end.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, it's I mean, his upside is huge. He reminds me of Chris Cooley more than anything else.
Yeah, facts.
Body frame, type, and how he can get off a block, and he can actually get himself open over those kind of short distances, that kind of like 5-10 yarders, stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I love Ben Sinnott to say, or Sinnott, whatever you want to call him.
Sinnott, yeah.
He's I think with needs a little seasoning, for sure. He was my tight end 2 in the draft.
Yeah, he was mine too. Yeah,
and he went number 2 in the draft as tight end 2. So,
and if you look at Dane Brugler's board, he was the 66th overall pick on his board. So he was saying out of the top 100, he was 66, but that's across every position.
Yeah, and then so he obviously 3 overall. So again, that's a little early, but as David mentions there, people say we reached for him, but we didn't. We went for the guy we wanted. We got him. Correct. We realized that if we didn't pick him then, we're waiting to the 80 or whatever it was, 78 whatever it was. And he might have gone by then. To be fair, he probably would have gone before 78. So
agreed.
I know all the tight end guys after that went in between 80 and 100, something like that, or like 7 tight ends went after that. But get the guy you want, man, 100%.
That's it. And he's an athletic freak, and they've got him on their board. And this is it. It's not about best player available. It's about who's on your board at that position. Go out and get that person that you want to pick. Our final, so that's round 2 sorted. Then round 3, we get into pick 67. Brandon Coleman, O-line at a TCU. My God, I was so excited when I finally saw an offensive lineman. I was like, right, I thought my head was going to fall off at one stage. But yeah, 997 RAS score. 997. This guy's got longer arms. He's got a bigger wingspan than Trent Williams, which is absolutely ridiculous. He has a higher score than any offensive lineman in the last 5 years that's came out of the draft. And if you look back at all of this scoring overall on a RAS score, he puts himself in the top 3% of people ever tested. That's not just offensive linemen, that's entire people who've ever been tested. He's in the top 3%. If you go back all the way through the analogs and you look at all of these offensive linemen that have ever been tested, he turns out he is 4th on the entire RAS score of all time. We have got an absolute athletic freak here. Heard a lot of people see him as a guard or a bit questioning, oh, well, he played guard in 2023, but he played the entire season in 2022 at left tackle. Have we got a steal here? Have we got a steal?
I think so. I mean, the guy's got the attributes. I say it's just he's got a couple of issues that we'll discuss later on, but that I've seen on him. But again, yeah, I mean, the guy runs a sub 540. I mean, the guy's 340 pounds, I think. You know what I mean? It's insane.
340 and 6'5",
yeah. So you might call him a little short.
A little bit short.
But he's got massive arms, as you mentioned. The wingspan's massive. So I've got no issue with
7'2" wingspan, which is just mental.
Hard to get around there, man. Yeah. It's hard to get around that type of thing, you know. I'd say it's just it's last season. You can say, well, he played guard, he played a little bit of tackle, but he was injured as well, and he's also helping his team out. So he played the whole season mostly hurt. I don't know what his injury was, but I just read that he was hurt for most of it. So maybe it's why his production wasn't as good. But again, you look at it as like how many sacks he's given up in like 700 snaps. It was like 3, I think. 3 or 4 in 700
1,540 snaps played is in the entire college career.
Yeah, so the guy's experienced, man. He knows what he's doing, you know. So, yeah, man. I mean, I say just because he's not a flashy name, but he's going with the attributes, he's going with the traits and the experience that he's actually played left tackle for quite some time.
I think if we can, I mean, it looks for all intents and purposes that Adam Peters, Dan Quinn, and the team are happy and comfortable with Cornelius Lucas starting left tackle. That's totally fine.
I think that's totally happy with that. No one.
And I'm not. I'll be honest with you. I'm absolutely not.
No, he's a swing tackle. And he's a swing tackle for a reason, because he'll give you a decent game even there. No, 2-3 games a season, you go, but he played really well there. But that's all you're going to get. You ask him to play 17, 18, 20 games.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm getting at there is if he can play 3 or 4 games to bring Brandon Coleman up to speed, then you go, right, okay, Brandon, off you go, you get in. Then that's probably where I'm looking at going with that, because I don't think there's enough out there in free agency now that's going to warrant signing a left tackle unless you find one on a post-June first cuts or
that's where you're going to see it. You're going to see the guys getting released then, these post-June things. Then
or camp,
that's the third wave.
Or camp, isn't it?
Like an expensive left tackle or good or a half decent like vet ain't going to be getting cut really in training camp, really, barring like injury or you know what I mean, something like that. So normally you get rid of these guys earlier, say the post-June cuts, rather than making them go through training camp and all the rest of it and blah 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 blah. So I can definitely see some people falling out out the tree. You know, when you shake the tree and all these guys fall out, there's going to be a couple, but who and where and what team and all the rest of it, no idea. But yeah, for me, it's obviously still sketchy on the left side because he's unknown. That's the thing. Yes, you can go for his college ball, but again, he doesn't take on elite pass rushers every week, and that's the thing with college tackles. That's why they struggle their first season, especially left tackles, even really, really good ones. You know, the first season they're never good. They're never good. Because left tackles are very hard position to play up against.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And they're not used to it. 16 games, 18 games, whatever it is. No, they're not used to it. So they're going to have ups and downs. They're going to have great games against certain guys with certain attributes and certain spin moves or whatever move that you do. And other times they're going to struggle against other guys. I mean, and it's just natural. And then normally you see, if they played the whole season in the first year, then the second season you see them really, if they're really good, you'll see them really excel then. Second season onwards when you really see the mark of a true quality rookie left tackle that's not a rookie, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, Rod's got here, says, do we go for vet cover? I don't think AP's plan to do that. Yeah, I agree. That's what kind of what I'm hearing and where we coming off is it doesn't look like he would go down that route, but we'll see when we get to training camp cuts. Yeah, we'll see where we end up.
We need to see these post-June cuts. That's what we need. You know, we need to know what
Andres Pete. That's a name that's being bandied about. David Glasgow Skins there. He said, I'd get Andres Pete and stick him at left tackle purely because we share the same surname. Be class seeing it on a jersey. I like that, mate. I like that.
You can always put it on there anyway, mate, and just say, used to be a Skins player, but he didn't really.
He looks old school with the butterfly neck protector. You're right, Deluxe. Old school with the butterfly neck protector. Absolutely, yeah. He looks mean.
Chris Samuels.
Samuels, yeah, man. Shout out to Andy Burrows in the chat as well. Here we go. Yeah, we're on already, boy. We're on already. Great to see you here, mate. New scheme will also help on the left side. Agreed. And Jayden Daniels is a running quarterback at times. So, the scheme and the way that the schemes, Cliff Kingsbury's system and how it's going to be schemed up, got to try and protect Jayden any way we can. And obviously, having mobile quarterback helps immensely.
Well, definitely helps your line because the crap.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But again, I mean, I just want to see Jayden be pass first, as in rather than run first as a quarterback.
I get it.
He can do both, of course, but I want him to be more passing rather than.
Yeah, you don't want to see him bailing out after first read.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't want to see too much of, but he will. He'll do a little bit of that because it's naturally in his game, but he still does. But you see also some nice film on him as well. That he does stand in the pocket. He's willing to take a hit to deliver that ball and delivers the ball on time. Again, I say there's a lot to like about Jayden.
Next pick then, third round, pick 100, Luke McCaffrey, wide receiver out of Rice. Again, another unbelievable RAS score, 9.44 as a wide receiver. Only been playing wide receiver for 2 years, previously a quarterback. Obviously, he's got that genes. Ed McCaffrey, Christian McCaffrey. If he's half the prospect, obviously Christian is. We're on to an absolute winner here, man, aren't we?
Oh, 100%. I mean, the only thing with the McCaffrey pick is that, yes, of course, you've picked him due to his name, his genes, and some of his traits. But could you have got him later in the draft? I think so.
Probably.
I think this is the only one where he reached. I thought he reached for him. I think we could have got him in the 5th. Personally, I think we could have got him then. But again, he was on my draft. He was on my draft board. I mean, I like the skill set he's got. Don't get me wrong. He's quick feet. He's explosive. Over the first 5-10 yards. He's going to be our slot corner. He's going to be the Dyami Brown replacement.
Yeah, 100% agree. Burrows has put a question in the chat here. Said, do you boys think that we'll be a harder team to scheme against this coming season? Last season, I can tell you every play we're about to run. Absolutely. And we could do it before we even set it off. But yeah, I think we will be a harder team to plan against. On the defense, especially on the offense side of the ball, yeah, we will be a harder team to play against. Mainly because you've got a dual threat quarterback. You don't know what he's going to do. That's the point.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. I say when you got a dual threat quarterback, even when you've as a defense, you think you've got him and then you don't. Do you know what I mean? Like, and these guys kill you. These guys who can run can break a play out or nothing. When you think, everything is, we've got him in a sacky, or they're going to dump it off, he's going to throw it away. Then all of a sudden he gets that 8 yards he needs for the first down. It's soul destroying for a defense. So
absolutely.
And it's just so difficult to contain a Jayden every single play because you're going to have to play a spy every time. And then with that, then you can scheme around. Okay, if I'm being spied every single time, then you can scheme around that with the play call and the passing plays and the screens and whatever else that they want to do. So it's good. We're going to be a lot harder to defend against, definitely.
Cameron McDonald in the chat here, he's put wide receiver 3, or are we bringing in a free agent? I mean, at the moment, he's wide receiver 3. In my opinion,
De'Ami Brown. I mean,
yeah. I mean, James Crowder.
No, he's not wide receiver 3. I mean, he'd be there as punt return, kick return.
We've still got Zacchaeus as well. So it's a fluid. The wide receiver room is a fluid situation. When you get outside,
isn't Dax Milne still around?
Yeah, Dax Milne's still around. Yeah, when you get outside of Luke McCaffrey, where he is now as a third round draft choice, I would not expect obviously him to be fourth choice, but we'll see. Shout out to royalty in the chat here. We've got Andy Burrows as British podcast royalty, and now we have the GOAT of the podcast world. It's Kyle Roenick, Mr. Burgundy's own himself, the podfather. Shout out to you, mate. Thank you for being with us, and we appreciate you being on here. And then our next pick, mate, in the 5th round, 139, Jordan McGee, linebacker out of Temple. Again, outstanding RAS score, 9.6. When I'm reading the Beast, Dane Brugler's, I'm looking at his. He was the 6th linebacker on the board out of Temple. Overall, he says that ideally he's going to start on special teams and he's going to be an outstanding special teams guy. I mean, think about it. If you're learning behind Bobby Wagner, you're learning behind Frankie Louvu. You've got Jeremy Chin at the back end to give you a little bit of support there. Jamin Davis, obviously, you can learn from what he's got, as well as how to be an athlete on the field, how to be a professional from Bobby Wagner. What better prospects can you learn behind? I mean, this is going to be awesome for Jordan McGee. Great pick again for me. Highly drafted, highly sought after, and an athlete. And there's a theme here: team captains and athletes. That's the theme we're seeing, Scouts, isn't it?
Yeah, and guys who are willing to finish the play until the whistle. We're going to keep going and going and going. They've got high motors, most of them have as well. So it's so you can see what Dan's wanting from his squad, So I say this guy, okay. I was a bit like, who's this guy when we first drafted him? It's like, because I think there was another linebacker on there that I preferred better. I think it was Ford. Jalen Ford, maybe Jalen Ford.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. Yeah,
I think he was on there, still on the board at that time. But
I mean, Tony Shivers has put something in the chat here saying McGee, big upgrade from Mayo. I mean, my word, David Mayo and who was the other guy who had his ankles broke? John Bostic and David Mayo. You've gone from that to Frankie Louvu, Bobby Wagner, Jordan McGee and Jamin Davis. I mean, we actually have a linebacker room. We had two bums who, well, no, I'm not going to call them bums. That's very rude. We had two linebacking coaches, ex-linebackers in the NFL in Jack Del Rio, and then a guy on the 85 Bears, Ron Rivera, who couldn't find a linebacker if they walked past one in the supermarket. I mean, what is going on?
That's where we found our linebackers in the supermarket. Bloody back
probably right, mate. Probably
that's
right.
Where we found them, the clearance aisle. That's where we found our boys. This is the absolute joker. Mayo
in the condiments aisle. Yeah, I see what you did there, Scouts.
You're not wrong. And I'd say it's yeah, man. I mean, it's so refreshing to have guys that you can't ignore an important position like linebacker for so many years. 1 year, okay, if you're still trying to pick out the holes and you're improving other areas, blah blah blah. I get that, okay. But then when you kind of like 2 year, 3rd year, 4th year, and you still haven't done anything about it, that's just poor. That's just real poor recruitment. It really is.
But look at what's weird is I said this before. Look at the way we've turned this around in some areas of this roster now. Massive turnover. I mean, it's 47 players now is the way where we are right now. It is absolutely crazy. A third of the roster is pretty much gone. And you're thinking to yourself, hang on a minute, we had 26 players under contract this season going in, and we want to get up to 90, which I totally understand. And you're thinking to yourself, we've now got a decent linebacker room, which was absolutely a weakness, is now a strength. It's just crazy how it can turn around this quickly. Andy Burrow's got a funny question up here. He said, who would win in a fight between Optimus Prime and He-Man? I mean, for me, it's He-Man every time. You cannot beat Adam. Do you know what I mean? Adam from, he's out there. He is making sure that Castle Grayskull is all right. But I'm not an Optimus Prime guy, mate. All about He-Man. But there you go. If you don't know who He-Man is, come on, just go and Google He-Man. It was all about Battle Cat for me. What a guy. But there you go. Yeah, I mean, the next pick after that, Jordan McGee, then 5th round, 161, Dominique Hampton, free safety out of Washington. Again, athletes, team captain, 9.58 on the RAS score. I mean, he's projected as the team's 3rd safety. He needs to work on his man coverage skills. But again, downhill speed. He's got all the intangibles to play free safety. So what are your thoughts on this pick, mate?
Yeah, I mean, he's I like the pick after, again, didn't know much about him when we actually drafted the guy. But when you read about him and stuff, yeah, you're right. Yeah. He's a pure free safety. You know, he's got some real nice athletic traits. But then obviously there's a couple of things there where, you know, he needs to definitely improve on. He's definitely not the finished article. But I think he could be the Jeremy Chin replacement if Chin either does too well and wants too much money the year after this, or he goes, whatever, he doesn't play well, whatever. I think he could be the replacement for him in a season or two. He does need some work. I mean, you get some of these things where, you know, he gets himself in certain positions where he leads too much with an arm tackle. You know what I mean? Because he's just got himself in our position. Do you know what I mean? So the guy, he has to lead with his arm, and obviously, as you know, most guys get ran through. You just go an arm tackle. No, the guy's going to run right through you, and it's happened a few times to him, to be fair. But if he can get his position a little bit more spot on, I think he could be a really good free safety. And we don't forget, we need a free safety. So all the safeties that we're talking about, all the things we've already got on our roster, most of the guys aren't really true, genuine free safeties. They're all a little bit of, you know, I can do a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I mean, you know, but probably preferably better at strong stuff like that. I want a true free safety, and he is a true free safety. So hopefully, we're going to say with some experience, with some good coaching, hopefully he can be a contributor as well.
See, I'm getting pelters in the chat here. Burrows and Cameron McDonald are both saying Optimus Prime would kick the shit out of He-Man. Come on, man. You cannot. He-Man was my hero when I was growing up as a kid. I was legendary to watch that. He-Man is an absolute beast. Anyway, but yeah, there you go. 7th round pick 222, Javonte Jean-Baptiste. Nice double-barreled name there. I like that. Edge out of Notre Dame, or Notre Dame as we call it over here. Notre Dame. He was, I think he was previously with Ohio State, and then came into Notre Dame for the last season in college football. Again, really, really high RAS score, 9.22. Good edge rotational piece. He might, you know, he'd be fighting for a roster spot. He's a 7th round pick for a reason. I get that, but at the same time, well done, fair play to him. Do you know what I mean? He's looked good, and he's he's picked for a reason, and that man just made his, you know. We made his life by getting that phone call the other day. So fair play to him. Looks decent as well. I mean, we haven't got a massive edge rotation. There are players out there who we've got on 1-year deals. You still got KJ Henry, Andre Jones, who made it as a 7th rounder last year. You've got who else? We've got Cleveland Farrell on a 1-year, Dante Fowler on a 1-year. Armstead's going to obviously be the starter of the edge, you know, that you've brought in Dorrance Armstrong, and he's still got FA there as well coming back. So we had this last year with a few people who could come into the rotation. So do you see him as a rotational piece?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's athletic. There's definitely some upside to him. I definitely think he's got his work cut out to make the team personally. But that doesn't mean he can't. So, as you mentioned before, you know, Andre Jones, you're thinking, was he going to make the team? And he did. So these things happen. And I think, you know, I say fair play to him, and I hope he makes it. I hope he can become a genuine contributor. But we're not expecting miracles though from these guys.
Can't expect it. No, you can't expect it first season. It takes a long time, and you said it ad nauseum. Everybody said it. It's a completely different level and a different game. It's like me going, oh, you know what? I'm going to play National League North football, and now I'm going to step up to the Premier League. Yeah, it's going to take time to get up there into understanding the NFL game, how it works, how to be a professional, how to condition your body, what to eat, what strength do I need, what schedules do I need. It's your job now. This is their job. Their job is to play football. And a lot of people don't see it as a job, but a lot of people who are superstars don't. They want to be athletes. And looking at what they've got from Raw Athletic Score, these guys are pure and simply football players. And they're athletes, and that's what I want to see. And I think we knocked it out the park. I mean, every single NFL analyst, podcast, whatever else, all around the media outside of Washington has said that we knocked out the park. It's generally an A grade of a draft class. I don't like grading draft classes for at least 2 years, if not 3, and then we can obviously see how these players progress. But ultimately, it's different this year. I've got a warm feeling inside me, Scouse, that goes, you know what? These guys actually know what they're doing. These are adults who are doing this now.
And this is why now you can sit back and relax and just go, well, actually, I am genuinely going to give these guys the time to work.
Yeah, 100%.
Because these guys know what they're on about. You can see the plan. You can see that you can even see certain progressions already, as in they're already thinking not just this season, they're thinking next year, the year after. You can see with some of the draft picks, you can see with the Johnny Newton one, with the John Allen thing and all that. You can see it already. So I mean, they're not just thinking just now. And Peter's only just got here 2 months ago. Do you know what I mean? So it's different level. It's different, different level psyche wise, and just different. Yes, just elite level.
Scouse, you there? Yeah, you're there, still there. So David from David Glasgow Skins, he says here, one thing I'm happy to predict, regardless of our record, is that with these leaders and athletes, we won't be giving up the most points in the league this season. Completely 100% agree with you.
Oh, yeah.
Burrows, I meant no disrespect by it, mate, by saying you said, oi, some of us have played National League standard, just saying. Yeah, I totally get it, mate. And you know what? It's a fucking hard game. Playing any sort of semi-professional or professional football.
He played, I know what he played. He played left back at the changing rooms. Well, he played.
What a bum. I'm here all week, Scouse. Yeah. There you go. You just got scoused there. Wow. Okay. That's gonna hurt. Burrows is a closet He-Man fan. Don't lie, Burrows. He dresses just like your WWF wrestlers. Yeah, wrestlers. Can you say wrestlers for me next time we're on the phone, Jesse? Because that'll be quite cool. We won't spend if JW get the defense turning the ball, we could surprise many teams this season. Agree, Joe Witt is going to make this team what it is. I mean, that was one of the things when I watched Joe Witt's press conference. I was like, man, I'm going to run through a wall for this guy. This guy is on fire. You can see that he is ready for this. He is absolutely primed and ready. And
chomping at the bit, really is.
Think of this talent that we've got in this, in this coaching team. The experience that we've got.
This coaching team is an all-star team, as in coaches. Position coaches throughout. It's different. It isn't no high school Visselmeyer looking after the DB room.
Visselmeyer, Brent
Visselmeyer. No high school coaches here. These are like the elite of the elite boys. They know what they're doing. So I'm all excited for them, man. I really am.
Well, we won't smash through every UDFA that was signed because we'll be here all night going through that. But maybe I don't know. But the UDFAs that we've got here that we will talk about because we paid some serious money for a few of these. We'll go through them. Cornerback Chiggy Newsome out of CSU, $50K signing bonus and a $300 base salary. Obviously, he's down as a rotational press man corner, is what they've said for that. Quarterback Sam Hartman, the lover with the long hair. My wife was quite impressed with this one. Obviously, he's a rugged-looking man.
I think that guy will turn straight men gay.
20K signing bonus, 225 base salary. Obviously, the base salaries don't mean shit because you can get cut at any time.
Unless you're on the roster or the practice squad, you don't get that, do you? Yeah, you just
but obviously, signing bonuses there. I mean, we'll talk about Chiggy Newsome there. I mean, half the league wanted this guy, and we've just gone, well, okay, we're gonna have to pay up. So if we have to pay up, that's fine. Here you go. Come on into training camp, and we'll see how we've got it. And then another one we have running back Austin Jones out of USC, obviously very familiar to Cliff Kingsbury and his offense, which is a help for him to potentially make the roster. He should compete for a roster spot. He got exactly the same contract as Sam Hartman. Safe. I mean, Sam Hartman, quarterback there. I mean, do you think that's it for? It's definitely it for Jake Fromm, but for Jeff Driscoll?
Oh yeah, these guys are just camp bodies and preseason game guys. You know, there's no doubt about it. These guys aren't going to be there at the start of the season when the season starts. You know, you've got two guys. You know, you're guaranteed to be on there, and I do think the third one's going to be Sam Hartman. I do.
Do you think he's going to be QB3, do you? Scout team guy? Okay, no, fair enough. I suppose if you want to stump up and pay that money, see a Driscoll, see a Fromm, thanks for being in as a camp body.
Yeah,
but, I know what you mean.
Yeah, exactly, yes. You know, they are literally just camp bodies. They just practice, you know, get the receivers, practicing the route running and stuff like that. You know, that's all they're going to do for me.
Another one that we got in was safety Tyler Owens from Texas Tech. He's the guy who doesn't believe in space or believe that there's
flat earther. Yeah,
he's a flat earther. I mean, he probably thinks that lizard people are running the country. Again, same sort of same deal. 20K signing bonus, 225 base, speed, and he's a special teams ace is what he's coming down as. But again, he had a perfect 10 RAS score. So, I mean, he's an athlete, whichever way you look at it. The one for me that was a little bit out there that probably did go under the radar was wide receiver Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint out of Georgia. He's a bottom of the roster guy, probably special teams. But what I found really interesting, because Andy Burrows knows I have a deep dive dossier on absolutely everybody. So I did my research and looked back at where he came from. He was actually called Marcus Rosemy, and Jacksaint was the name of the coach at his high school, Mr. Jacksaint. And the missus, his missus was like the team mum, if you like. And when it came to that, he moved in with them. It's meant to be a thing that just lasted a few years, turned into 6 years. And then when it came to the point of him going to college and going to Georgia and getting all these offers through Florida State, a few others offered as well, he was like, right, I can't sign the papers because his dad went missing and his mum had died when he was 6. So they physically adopted him and said, look, we'll adopt him. And then that's why he took that Jacksaint part of his name. Also, very odd one. He was born with 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot, and they were removed at birth. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
The cat didn't be better catching the ball.
I was thinking that, but how'd you get a 6-fingered glove? Unless you're from Norwich, so you know what I mean. Maybe that's or deepest darkest Virginia. Who knows? You know what I mean. But there you go.
Oh, dear.
Oh, dear.
Imagine it.
I know. And then the best name of the entire UDFAs, I know Burrows is trying to get a jersey, is tight end Colson Yankoff from UCLA. He just wants a jersey with Yankoff written on it, which is, I like that. I can understand. Former quarterback as well. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense there. It's interesting, man. That one. It's an interesting name. I don't know anything about the guy, to be fair. I've not looked up on him or anything yet. I don't know what he's about, but I think he's got some size if he's a tight end, and you know what I mean. But no idea.
There's nothing wrong with Virginia, Jesse. It's all good, man. It's all good. What number does Yankoff get? I have no idea to look. Yeah, Andy Burrows. You had to go there, didn't you? But there you go. Oh, he's answered it anyway. Got it. But I suppose, Scouts, because obviously the UDFAs are there, we'll have to get into our questions, mate, for this week. There's been an absolute shed load of questions that have come in. A first one is from Scott G. He is at 20 G Dog. He said, "I've heard enough rah-rah only post-draft analysis, knowing that it's historically percentage say many of these picks will not be great. Let's hear one positive, one negative from each pick." I think we've kind of done that already, haven't we, to be fair? And the same for the overall draft strategy of AP. I mean, we've been through that as well, really. It's athletic guys who've got really, really high RAS scores and were team captains. You know,
so high character guys with motors, guys who are explosive, and guys who are animals. We're basically very aggressive guys who only play. That's the kind of, you can see that's the theme of what AP's done. So, you know, that's what they said they were going to do when he first came in. That's what Witt said. That's what Dan said. These guys want guys who are aggressive, who will play right through the whistle, and arrive violently.
Yes, arrive violently and hit hard. Yeah.
These guys do that. All of them. All the players besides obviously Jaden. Everybody there does that. So, you know, can't complain really.
But yeah, I mean, next one from Yam Starch, Yam Sensei on Twitter, so you can go and follow him there. Always in our chat. He said an all too early season record prediction and why. I don't like doing this very, very early, mate. I've got no idea. I'd be happy with 6 to 7 wins. Honestly, building season 6 to 7 wins and Jaden Daniels to be fairly decent. Do you know what I mean? And just be like, yeah, actually, we have got the answer here. What about you, Scouse?
Yeah, I want us to be hitting 12 wins, you know, the Canada Mike style. 12
Canada
wins.
Mike. We're going to get on to Canada Mike. Fair play, Canada Mike, man. He sent us an email, right, old school, and said, look, well done, boys. Thanks for, you know, and Big does up a lot. And it made me smile. And thank you, Scouse, for sending that on to me, because what a guy. Honestly, he was in every single podcaster's chats, you know, always putting questions in. I know he's over in Ontario, and I know he wants to listen to the show, and he is listening to it. So shout out to Canada Mike. You are a real one. You were here when we first started. When we first started, and we got him on the pod, and he was like dead nervous. What a guy, you know, honestly. Shout out to him. I hope you get yourself some merch and some jerseys out there, and you know, you give some Buffalo Bills fans some shit.
I'm jealous.
Yes, yeah.
But I want to jump on the back of Mike's coattails and say,
yeah, go ahead.
12 wins.
12 wins. Is that what you're going? Genuinely, 12 wins.
4,000 yards from Jaden passing, 30 TDs, 8 interceptions. That's what we're going for. Let's go. Let's fucking go.
Let's go. Let's run for a wall. So speaking of Mike, he's put a question. He said, Had our first pick been JJ McCarthy, as well as our second pick not being O-line, would this podcast even be taking place?
Probably
the answer's probably no.
Yeah, probably not. We're probably too busy crying in our bloody cups of tea over here. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we both would have been absolutely raging, to be honest. It would have been a good pod, to be fair, because we would have lost our heads up probably live on here. So
imagine the Scouse's sizzle on that. It'd just be you ranting straight for 20 minutes. That'd be it. Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
You're not wrong, man.
You're not wrong. You see when Big Simple, when he's like, let's go, that'd be you going the other way. Just going crazy.
Raging. Oh, yeah. I mean, I was thinking, I mean, should I change my phone here just in case that, you know, it does become JJ, and if it does, then I'll be launching my phone against the wall. Obviously got an expensive phone. I don't want to break that one. Do we change it for a cheaper one for now? Use it for that day. Honestly, man, I was thinking these things in my head, thinking this shit better not happen. This thing better not. This JJ.
Imagine Jesse's face if we'd have done that.
Exactly, yeah, Jesse. This is why I wanted to draft him, so you see me absolutely go mental. I mean, I'm just so glad that didn't happen. But again, you know, it's but those things were in my mind, man. They were. Couldn't deal, but definitely, yeah. I don't think this show would be on. I don't think. What do you think?
I think so too. No. If O-line and if O-line wasn't taken,
and I mean, Pete McCarthy, I'll be like, oh, mate, this is like, what are you doing, Peters? Time for you to leave already. That'd be the kind of things I'd be saying. I'd have been raging.
Oh no. Next one, Simon Thurston. So Simon P. Thurston on X. Go and give him a follow. Great guy. We met him obviously at the Edinburgh draft party a couple of years back now. He's put on there, now the draft is done and dusted, which realistic veterans might be cut that would fill a hole fill a hole for us? Ooh. I mean, I think he means obviously cut other teams that could come in. Yeah.
It's quite difficult ones. I mean, obviously, I've not really gone into the research on that one. I mean, you'd have to look at the team and look at like kind of cap space and cap hits and stuff like that, because you know you're not going to get rid of at the end of the day, we're probably looking at potentially maybe 2 positions, one's left tackle, and potentially you might think receiver. That'd probably be your two positions that you're going to look for in free agency.
Justin Simmons is still out there. Just saying.
Who?
Simmons is still out there. Just saying.
Simmons?
Yeah, Simmons is still out there. Yeah, he was cut by Broncos, wasn't
he? You mean the safety?
Yep, he was cut by the Broncos.
You don't need him now. All the safeties we've got, man.
I don't know. It's still like a veteran in that room.
We don't need safeties now. We need receiver. We need left tackle.
We need a left tackle. Absolutely desperate. Yeah, you're right.
So I'll be looking at them and looking at the guys who, say could be a cap hit who might have an out, especially if that team has selected a tackle in the draft, earlier on, or got another vet in that's actually pretty similar level. You can see one of those guys going. But again, I've not done the research, so I don't really know what other teams have done that. So I couldn't tell you at the moment, mate. If I look into that one.
Yeah. Tony Shivers, he is at TShivers79 in our chat with us today, and the lucky winner of a 1 Point Safety Show snapback, which is in the post, Tony. He said, besides Daniels, which pick are you most excited for? I'll let you go with that one too, Scouse.
Oh yeah, for me it's Mike Sinistrel, 100%. Yeah. I say he's gonna meet when Cam left. I know people have got issues with Cam, or some people love him, some people hate him. I get it, but when he left, right in the middle there's big hole, and now there isn't. Trust me, he's going to hoover up all that. This guy's going to be that good. He is. Trust me, he's going to be that good. I mean, okay, you might get some games where you get burned or whatever, but again, you'll learn from that. And trust me, this guy's going to be the real deal. I mean, I just can't say enough good things about him, to be honest with you. So bring it on, man. Bring it on.
Scott G's in the chat with us. Oh, here he is. Great name, though, to be fair. And he's put in meetings over. What BS have these guys been trying to sell you on today? Snake oil is where we're at. If you want a warranty on a refrigerator, we're also there for that.
Yeah, we're selling
lizard people are taking over the world. All politicians are liars, and it's election day as well for the London mayor, where Count Binface is going to win. So if you are in London and around the area, please vote for Count Binface. And yeah, that's about it, really. No, we're not doing anything.
I hope you sent him the right way around, mate.
I did. So I did send him the right way around. Yeah, I sent him a snap. I sent him a snap back because he didn't want a beanie, and that's fine. So
he didn't want the beanie.
No, he didn't want a beanie. He said, "Oh, I don't wear beanies." So I said to Tony, "Well, okay, I'll make an exception. I'll send you a snap back because I had one spare." So
that's a disgrace. You should have said no. It's very unsporting, that, Tony.
It is fine. Don't worry about it. Honestly, it's not an issue. But Scott tried to tell us that He-Man would beat Optimus Prime in a fight. Absolutely right. Absolutely right, Burrows, and he would. He would indeed.
Hey, So what's to say? Where to say? Bo says something about being teabagged. Where's that?
Yeah, it's a little bit further up. He's saying that if we win 12 games, I'll let Keith teabag me in the snow. Well, that's an offer, Keith, you can't refuse.
The thing is, Bo, is that he's going to teabag you anyway. So it doesn't matter if you get 12 wins or not. As soon as we go over them, and you're going to get teabagged, you know it's going to be on the cards. You know it because you did it to him last year, so you're gonna get it.
Here's a question then from, speaking of Burrows, here is a question that Burrows actually put into us. He said, what do you think of the idea of only 2 preseason games and an 18-game season, as mentioned by Roger himself in the past week? And then coming off that, we had Kebab from Genos, Sintelin, saying it's more profitable, but just means the season doesn't settle down for an extra week. It won't look as good as week 1 game, but at least it means something. And then Chris Brophy also chimed in on this on X. He said expand by 4 teams, so 36 teams, 18-game season, expand the roster to 60. No players can play more than 16 regular season games. This protects players, creates more jobs, brings in more games, more dollars. Even without expansion, I still think a bigger roster and only letting players play 16 games is the way forward. I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
I really like that idea, to be fair. You know, if you're going to go to 18 games, which let's face it, Goodell's been trying to do this for years.
He has.
He's had to do it very slowly, hence the reason the 17-game season and blah, blah, blah. But he wants an 18-game season. That's what he wants.
He does, yeah.
So,
and if you can expand it, and as Chris said, and have expansion teams coming out of this with another division, you're going to get a London franchise. Facts. That is going to happen. That is going to happen, irrespective.
And I think this as well, you got to think about it. Even if he says there that there's going to be there's no new franchises starting up. Say there's it's just the way it is what it is. What we got now, that's fine. But increase the actual amount of guys on the roster, on the active rosters, and then you can, and as I say, have a limit on how many star players can play or something like that. And obviously injury. Same thing would happen, if you're injured. Say, for example, you had 18 games you were playing, and say you had a guy stud who missed 4 games through injury. Well, that means he can play the rest of the season. See what I mean? So it won't go again. It won't count against, if that makes sense. So I think if you did that, it'd be quite interesting, and it'd make your team actually think more about the roster as well, as in as a overall not as general manager, but the overall management, like you would do with a soccer team as such. You have a squad and you will rotate players on the regular, not just in game, but like different matches. And you got a good team.
That happens in most sports. I mean, look at you support Liverpool. Look at what they do in cup competitions. Spurs are the same. Carlisle don't have that luxury. So, you're stuck with the squad. You're stuck with the squad you got. That's it. But you will have youth team players or players on the fringes or squad players playing in the cup games. Whereas when it comes to like Champions League, or it comes to Europa League, or it comes to the big competitions, or even the Premier League, it's a totally different side.
Exactly. You play your best players for the main games, and then obviously best available players at that point, barring injuries, and then you can keep those guys fresh for other games.
So this has clearly upset Scott G, because he said you want to attend a game when Mahomes isn't sitting, and then he's saying F load management. That's not happening. I'm like.
I get it from that angle as well. But the thing is, though, is that quality of play as well, because if you're making a guy play extra games, for example, you mentioned Mahomes there. If Mahomes, what happens if he's totally knackered and fatigued and he plays like shit, or he gets hurt in that game because he's fatigued that much? So you've gone to see him, or you've seen him now get hurt, or you've seen him throw 4 picks. That's not what you went to see him for. You went to see him light it up. So, there's always going to be pros and cons to all of this, and arguments either way. But
everybody would sit there. Deluxe has probably got a point there. Everyone would sit their starters against teams like the Giants. If the Giants would still lose, what you're not saying there is the Giants would still lose. So
but that's the other problem you get then, isn't it? Just imagine, say, if a
Spurs couldn't rotate a potato.
But that's very true from Deluxe there, though. I mean, what happens, for example, you want to, I don't know, Green Bay, that's like 5 games ahead of everybody else in their division, and they come to play the Giants. Go, do you know what? I've got a few banged up guys. I just won't play any of them and play all these half reserves and lose. Well, then now the Giants win that game, and that puts people under pressure. You know what I mean? Like the other team's close to them, or maybe fighting for that edge of playoff spot or whatever it is. So that's the problem there as well.
Scott G, sit all the stars in the London games. Behave yourself. You know what I mean? You need to get your ass across the pond and come over here. I swear to you, you have no idea how big this sport is. Everyone thinks,
even small town, whatever it is.
I know, but come over here, and I swear to you, you go down to London, Burrows will quite happily take you around. You go down to London and you will see every single team's jersey. No matter who it is, they're there. There are thousands and thousands of fans over here. Us, the 49ers, the Dolphins, the Raiders, they're probably the most, on the Jags is where you've got to give the Jags some love. They are the most well-supported franchises in the UK by miles. How we haven't cashed in on it, I have no idea. Burrows will tell you the Barraboy and Banker, I think that's what it's called, the pub, was absolutely heaving with Redskins fans back in the day when we played Cincinnati. I mean, did you go to that game, Scouse, as well?
Well, when Washington came to Wembley.
To Wembley, yeah.
Oh yeah, I was there. Yeah,
I
I saw amazing head coaching skill.
Yeah.
Going,
I know what you're
I'm
saying.
going to ice my own kicker. You fucking idiot.
To be fair, I wouldn't make it out of London alive with a weekend with you two. That is absolutely true, Burrows. I will give you that one. But yeah, interesting thought. I do think we eventually do go to an 18-game season, but there's a lot of logistics that need to come out of that. So yeah, I agree with your premise. Yeah, but we'll see what happens. Next question then, Richard Cameron.
Definitely happening.
It is happening 100%. Richard Cameron, who's at Mr. Rich Cameron, he says, yank off the tight end, discuss. Sorry, guys. I think we've already been there, haven't we? But yeah. I have my will and paperwork.
I think the ones of New Jersey with Yankoff on the back is going to have
that would be
white stains all over it.
Oh, come on. We've gone a bit. You went a bit far there, man. You went a bit far there.
I mean, that's Paul's level.
Paul Fiander Turner, he's put on he's called Having a Radox on X. He said, what would it cost for an attempt to acquire a stud left tackle with Allen going the other way? See, Scott, it's not just me that's talking about this. It's not just Jesse that's putting a conspiracy theory out. It's not just Scouse that thinks that. This is the way that this fan base suddenly thinks, are we going to trade John Allen? There's no guaranteed money, as you said earlier, Scouse. He's got 2 years left on his deal. I think one of them is actually a void year. So he's not owed anything. Why? He wants to go to a contender. He was pissed off last season. It was clear. I mean, maybe he's bought in. I get what he's doing here. He's bought in. But, yeah, what do you think about trading John Allen? And what do you think it would cost us? And who would you go for a left tackle?
Oh, man, that's a tough one. I mean, you obviously want one of the best left tackles, don't you? You want to go out and get one of the best if you can.
Or Sean Slater at the Chargers. They just picked up Joe Alt.
But they just got Joe Alt.
So exactly. Both left tackles.
But what I could see is Slater moving over to the right. That's what I could see.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, I again,
it's difficult, man. Because one, who's going to want to let go of this prior star tackle? I don't think any team would want to get rid of them, really, especially if they're not injury prone or old. You know what I mean? So, very, very difficult to get anybody, but it would cost us some serious capital and the serious money because the top left tackles are on shed loads of money. So, I mean, I don't even know who would actually be a really good fit for us, to be fair. I mean, who do you think? Who do you think would be a really good one?
The thing is, I don't see any team giving away a top-end left tackle. I mean, there's the guy at the Bengals, can't remember his name, Wirfs. You're not going to get someone like that. He's
not a left tackle, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's a right tackle, so...
Is he? I thought he was playing left.
Wirfs, yeah, he's a right tackle, isn't he? From Tampa. Wirfs, yeah. Is that the guy you on about?
Yeah, Tampa Bay. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
He played right tackle most of his NFL career so far. Unless he's moved over recently, but mostly right tackle. So this is the thing you see. I don't even know like the big names of kind of like who could you get? I mean, okay, Slater, could he be available at the right price? Potentially, now they got old. Potentially,
Christian Darrisaw at Minnesota.
Darrisaw still under his rookie contract. How much would you be able to get for? I mean, what would it take to get him? And then obviously you got to get him signed up on a mega money deal.
Yeah,
but you're still looking at firsts. Now you're looking at first round.
Oh yeah. I think so too.
First, even something like that, plus maybe a John Allen to get like a real elite left tackle. You're gonna have to go out there.
John Allen is not fetching you a lot back. Let's be honest, unless it's at the trade deadline, and you're going to a team who's winning, needs a defensive tackle to kind of push them over the edge. You might get a second at the absolute best, but you're probably looking at third rounder.
I'll try and get Trent Williams back if he wants to come back. He's getting on a bit, but he's still decent. He still wasn't more than decent. Still one of the best. So, yeah.
Well, that that was our last submitted question. But Ian, your bro had one in the chat. He said, giving you time to get your thoughts together, excluding patience and development stats wise, what do you class as a good season, i.e., yards, catches, TDs, etc., for our rookies?
Well, I mean, I think it'd be nice. It'd be nice if I mentioned the stats that I want Jayden Daniels to get 4,000 passing yards, 30 TDs, eight interceptions. That'd be very, very nice. I'm potentially maybe say 6 or 7 on the ground himself as well. I mean, you got to expect them to be running the ball in the red zone as well. You got to expect it. But again, realistically, you're probably looking at half that. To be honest, you're looking at probably half that. When you're looking at,
I thought they did too, Cameron. I thought he was a left tackle last season for Tampa, but anyway,
yeah,
worse that is. But yeah, I agree with you, Scouse. I think 4,000 yards. Is that what we're saying for Daniels?
I think that's a little. I mean, yeah, I think the minimum should be 3,000. Really, 4,000 would be nice, but 3,000 is probably the minimum. Really, you got to be thinking about it. When you're looking at the other, because obviously those stats, you're looking at potential. You're looking at offensive players, aren't you?
Offensive players. Yeah. So the next offensive player we've got is Ben Sinnott, or Sinnott.
Ben Sinnott, yeah. So Ben Sinnott, yeah. So again, he, I reckon 700-800 yards.
Ooh, that's quite high.
Yeah, but don't forget though, he's going to be starting sooner rather than later.
He is. You're right.
Because let's face it.
And there'll be 2 tight end sets that'll be out there.
It's going to go down as well. Your last 5 games and he'll be done. Do you know what I mean? So that's just how it is, unfortunately, nowadays with heads. So maybe, say 700-800 yards, 5-6 TDs. That'd be nice. That'd be nice from him. But again, it's difficult. But again, I think he is capable of getting those numbers if he plays enough snaps.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. I mean, I think, honestly, for a good season for him, it's about 400, 450, 2 or 3 TDs, building on a rookie season. He is going to be the eventual tight end 1. But also, you've got to think to yourself, is he going to be playing H-back? Is he going to be purely blocking in a lot of sets? But he's got the hands and the speed as well to do things. I mean, Zach Ertz is tight end 1 right now.
I mean, I'm going to try and be utilizing Sinnott as not blocking tight end. Yes, can he block? Yes, but that's where his weaknesses are. We didn't go into his real weaknesses, and his real.
Weirdly though, is he is actually the best blocking tight end in the entire draft.
Yes, well, what's that tell you? Do you know what I mean? Like, it tells you that these guys are all receivers coming out, but he's the better blocker.
Yeah, Burrow's saying here 700 to 800 yards. Scouse, your hat is on too tight to stop the blood going to your brain. Yeah,
hey, Bowes, you tell me what he's going to do then, man. You tell me, and let's put a pint on it then. How about that? How about that?
Pint. Put your money where your mouth is, eh? I like that.
You start saying that my hat's too bloody.
Scouse is going for 700 yards, and Burrows is probably going to be about
100 yards. Yeah, so obviously dead easy to make. Yeah. It's something ridiculous. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. And then the next, we'll answer the end of Ian's question. And the next one was Luke McCaffrey, wasn't it? Obviously, wide receiver. What's a good season for Luke McCaffrey?
Yeah, I reckon, similar to what you probably get Curtis Samuel type numbers, 400 yards.
Curtis Samuel was our best receiver last year, statistically.
Yeah, but he's wide receiver 3, though. That was my point. Is that,
okay. Yeah,
so you're looking at wide receiver 3. You're looking at wide receiver 3 production. So, yes, he was our best player because he wasn't marked much as like the other ones were. Yeah, you know what I mean? So, I mean, what did he actually get last year, Samuel?
I'm gonna have to look it up, Curtis Samuel's stats, but I mean,
anything for Luke McCaffrey, you're probably looking at again, the 200-300 yards. Anything more than that, then you're doing well. Again, what you said before, maybe 2 or 3 touchdowns. It won't be loads.
Yeah, that's kind of where it is. So he got 62 receptions for 613 yards, an average of 9.9, 4 TDs.
Yeah, I mean, it might be a touch high for McCaffrey, but again, I think so. That thing of the things with Samuel though is that he's run after the catch. That was what most of his came from. It wasn't like Sam Howell was throwing it 15 yards to him, 20 yards to him every time. You know what I mean? It was, and that's why he's got 10 yards per average, 10 yards per catch average. A lot of it was loads of like ridiculous small screens, and he was running after the catch. So again, it depends on what McCaffrey can do, because he's quick enough. Maybe he'll do a lot of that for us. But again, we'll have to see. Again, you know, I'm expecting our offense to be a lot more dynamic and a lot more potent than it was last year. So I'm expecting bigger numbers for these talented rookies.
Yeah, agreed. Well, that about does us, mate. Obviously, we've gone on an hour and 15 here, which is, it just flies by. We've got to shout out the chat again. Thank you so much for everyone for being in with us. The Podfather for stopping in and being with us. Tony Shivers, Cam McDonald, Burrows. We've got Deluxe in the chat. Ian, your bro, in here as well. We've got Yam putting questions in. All those who put questions in as well, man. We can't thank you enough. Rob Morrison in the chat. Jesse in the chat. Scott G in the chat. Got to give you a shout out as well. I mean, this community that we've got here, I mean, I'm watching it as it goes past and people are saying hello to each other now. How's it going? Nice to see you on a Thursday, that sort of thing. We're growing, man, and it's great to see. You know what I mean? It's great to see. Yeah, and Canada Mike, again, putting his stuff in. Shout out to Canada Mike as well. It's like,
I think that's the cool thing, isn't it? You know, people from
of course it is, man. Yeah, absolutely. David as well, Glasgow Skins fan.
We started off being with us, talking just two English dudes. You know what I mean? So it's nice to So it's nice to actually, see a lot of the Americans still get involved with us as well, and it's really cool, because obviously it is, because a lot of times it is poor time for them, really. 3 in the afternoon, most people are working. You know what I mean? So it's not great to get involved live. So I do appreciate the guys who can actually do it.
Brian, I'll give you the honor of the last bit of in the chat of the day. It's always Brian on it. Why didn't you guys announce one of our picks? I don't know, man. I was gutted about that as well. International fan of the year. I got to call this out, man. What is going on? International fan of the year for Washington has never been to a game. Me and Burrows are fucking season ticket holders. What is going on here? Season ticket holders. Every year we're out there game one. We pump all this money into it. We've both got successful podcasts. What? Me and you, Scouse and Burrows, we're out every single year. And you look at the other guys who also deserve this. You Tony Wheats of the world, Chili's, Christian out there. There's so many people who are involved in Twitter, in writing, in podcasting, who come from the UK. And it's like, what, you're going to pick someone from Mexico who's never been to a game?
It's like, wait a minute. And then she didn't even know
that. Now, fair play to her. She won it. She got it fair and square. No issues at all.
I don't think it was fair and square. Do you think it's fair? I think it's fair.
I'm not going to call out a young lady on this pod, Scouts. Come on, man. I did already. So,
She didn't know anything about the draft, what the draft entailed, or anything. I mean, that's what we found out.
Had no idea.
What's happening now? Wait there a minute. You know what I mean? How do we not get how do we none of us get, at least one of us get a nomination for it? You know what I mean?
It's just crazy.
Even we put our own names in and we still didn't even get looked at.
Exactly, Scouts. But there you go.
I couldn't even do it, man.
It is what it is.
That was pretty good, like, to be fair. That's pretty good.
That'd
be cool. That'd be really cool to be
maybe next year, mate. We'll go to Green Bay and we'll go to Lambeau. How about that? You know what I mean? Let's get a trip up to get a trip up to Lambeau and we'll go from there. But yeah, that about does us, mate. But thank you, everybody, for being with us. Thank you to all those who submitted a question, all those in the chat. Burrows ruined it for us. Yeah. Fan of the year, never been to a game. Oh, okay. But anyway, I'm not even reading the rest of that out. But there you go. If you want to see what Burrows has put there, you can watch it on YouTube. If you're not and you're listening to the pod, please keep downloading. Again, shout out to our sponsors, Dunstable Town FC, Talk of the Town podcast, who is our affiliate. Oddballs, go across to Oddballs. It's www.myoddballs.com. And we have our own website as well, which is onepointsafetyshow.com. So you can go across and see merch and other bits and pieces from there. Thank you, everyone, for being with us. We appreciate you. We'll be back on next Thursday. And until then, everybody, have a great weekend and we'll see you soon.
Bye.